Yeah. Namaste. Today I'll be starting the explanation of the 35th Sutra of Sadhana Pada. The sutra is about the fruit of ahimsa. What happens when a person masters the ahimsa, which is one of the yamas that we have learned in the previous class. Ahimsa, as we understood, was not causing harm by our thoughts, words, and deeds, right? So this was the kind of first yama that we have seen, and all other yamas, all the four yamas were kind of helping in achieving ahimsa in a certain way. Ahimsa plays a very important role. That's what we have understood. Now, the sage Patanjali has started explaining the fruit of ahimsa. What happens when there is a mastery of this aspect of ahimsa? When one masters ahimsa, which is non-violence, pratisthayam is firmly established in non-violence. He's firmly established, he or she is firmly established in non-violence. Tat sannidho, in the presence of such a person, in the presence of such a person, such a yogi who practices non-violence, who has gained mastery in non-violence. When somebody comes in the proximity of such a person, that person who has come into the proximity of this yogi also loses enmity. That is what is given as vairatyagaha. That person or any living being, even if it is a wild beast also, it abandons that hostility or enmity, which is the nature of that organism. That is the kind of perfection or siddhi that a person attains when one masters ahimsa. Okay, I'll repeat this once again. Ahimsa, as we have seen, is one of the yamas, and it is non-violence. Non-violence in all three aspects: manasa, vacha, karmana, which is through our mind, with our thoughts, with our words, with our speech, and with our deeds, with our actions. So all these aspects, in all these aspects, we have to make sure that we follow the yama of ahimsa. Ahimsa, when it is firmly established in a yogi, that yogi attains a siddhi. What is the siddhi? When he attains this perfection in ahimsa, any organism that comes into the proximity of this yogi, the vaira, which is hostility or enmity, which is inherent in that organism, is abandoned. He will let go that he or the organism, whoever comes into close proximity of this yogi, will abandon that enmity, that violence, that nature of hostility, causing harm to others. They will be very, very, very peaceful. Even if it is a wild beast also, the aura of this person, the energies that are in this person will the state of mind that this person is in, that will kind of transcend into any organism that is around this person. That is what is the fruit of ahimsa. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this loss of hostility doesn't just extend to, as I said, please remember, it doesn't just extend to this person, that person, this creature, that creature. It extends to all beings, all living beings which are in proximity, which are in close proximity with this person who has attained the siddhi. And they naturally let go the sense of enmity, because the state of mind of the yogi is taking over. Okay, the power is such that the state of the mind of yogi is also seen in the state of other animals or other beings which are around that person. Okay, so that is what is a siddhi. The creatures or the living beings will reflect that state of yogi's mind in his presence. because the samskaras, as we have seen, and thoughts of violence have been like let go, properly abolished by the mastery of ahimsa. And this kind of transcends into the other organism also. All living beings are so affected by his state of mind that they all follow his emotion. All follow his emotion and abandon their hostilities. Such is the case with a person who has mastered ahimsa. Okay. Now, how do you apply this in your own life? Like, for you see, when you are in a peaceful state of mind, you yourself can assess this. When you are in a peaceful state of mind, the people around you, be it your family, friends, or colleagues, or anybody, there is a pleasantness, right? Even if somebody is angered also, you might sense this. Like if you are peaceful, they might kind of, if they speak to you or if they are in the presence of you, they might feel good. Why? Because of that vibe. That vibe becomes so magnified in a yogi who's mastered ahimsa that there is no feeling of enmity with anybody. It's as if they don't have any enmity with anybody. Such is the case in the presence of that yogi. Okay, so I am assuming that this sutra is clear to all of you. Now, the next sutra talks about Satya, the fruit of Satya. What is Satya? The second yama that we have seen after Ahimsa, right? So, Satya Pratishtayam, when the yogi is firmly established in the aspect of truth. Okay, when the yogi is firmly established in the act of establishment of truth, Kriya Phalashrayatvam. So the results of the actions depend on the yogi's will. The result of the actions depend on the yogi's will. Here, upon the mastery of Satya, which is truthfulness, the yogis, through the yogi's speech, whatever he utters, that turns out to be true. Whatever it could be. If he utters something, that turns out to be true. That is the siddhi of Satya. When Satya is established firmly in a yogi, whatever the yogi speaks, that turns out to be true. So he produces the fruit of an action by his will. Getting it? So if he wants something to happen, it will happen. This truth becomes so intense that he obtains the fruits of actions which are similar to the fruits produced by rituals and sacraments and all such stuff. So we do certain things for obtaining certain results, right? Like yagnas and other rituals are done to kind of get something, right? Without doing all those things and without following such rituals and all that, the yogi who's following the firmly established in the truth, Satya, that person, if he utters something that this will happen, it will happen. Such is the siddhi which a person accomplishes with truth. Okay, so he grants.
Didi, can we call this Siddhi as Vacha Siddhi?
Yeah, we can call vacha means anything which is related to speech, but here you see the all the yamas are followed in three ways: mansa,
Yes.
vacha, karmana. E- Even if the yogi thinks, it will happen. Even if a yogi speaks, it will happen. If a yogi does something, it will come true. Okay, but here, because what is more reasonable in the case of Satya is because we use speech, right? Generally we follow speech to understand whether it's truth or not, right? So Speech is more relatable in case of Satya. But for all the yamas, all these three aspects, like remember, thought, words, actions, all three are important. One should establish themselves in all these three aspects. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So simply by uttering a word, he grants it for the person or the living being. If there is something that has to happen and he utters it, it will come true. Okay. It is like saying tadhastu and it has happened. It has appeared. It is something like that. Though we might not have seen something like this in reality, but this is what, as if we understand Yoga Sutras in a proper way and follow it, probably many years ago, people were able to do all these things. That's why these have come out as sutras, right? So terse and precise. It looks like they have done ample research on this. Like people might have been following all these things, might have seen all these aspects, right? So, yeah, this is the phala of Satya. When one is established firmly in Satya, so only by his words, he can grant anything for a living organism. Such is the power of the yogi. So as you can see, unconditioned by time, country, birth, he develops a kind of divine buddhi in himself. He's able to acquire the result of his karma according to his wish. Usually the result of karma is independent of our wishes, isn't it? Karma is, the result of karma is never dependent on our wishes. It happens because we are destined, because of what we have done. But it is not so with a person who has perfected truthfulness. The sutra may also be interpreted to mean that the aspirant develops truth of speech. Whatever he speaks will come true. Whatever he says would happen. In yoga, this is called a psychic speech. Okay, he develops a power in himself and his mind becomes so clear, just like a mirror, and it reflects what is to happen through his speech. So you see, they are giving the mental aspect also. His mind is clear like a mirror and it reflects what is to happen through his speech. Therefore, the result of the actions, any action is absolutely dependent on him, not on change or prarabdha. So what it means is like he can like redefine prarabdha. If you are in the proximity of a person, if such a yogi would like this to happen for you, it will happen. Okay. Or it may be said that one who has developed truthfulness to such a high degree is able to perfectly weigh every word he utters. Perhaps it is because he has complete control over his speech. This is very difficult. Only that person can speak truth who knows how to weigh each word. It becomes a condition of his speech. He does not express anything without weighing the words with spiritual power. Through this, he can put a great restraint on the vehicle of speech. Whatever comes from his mouth turns out to be true. There are two meanings of the sutra. First, it means that whatever he speaks comes true. And secondly, it means that the result of actions follow from his will. Whatever he wishes, that comes true also. So isn't this, somebody asked this question, right? So whatever his will is, that will come true. This is like a thought, right? He's wishing for that mentally, and that is coming true, even if he utters that from his mouth in the form of speech, that also comes true. Okay. Now going to the 37th sutra. Was that clear to everybody before I move on to the next sutra?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So the 37th sutra is the fruit of astheya, result of astheya. What is astheya? Astheya is non-stealing. That is what we have learned yesterday, right? Upon the firm establishment of non-stealing, non-theft. What happens? Sarvaratnopasthanam. Sarvaratnopasthanam means all treasures become available to such a person who's honest. Like he knows that because he doesn't have any intent to aspire for wealth, he everything becomes so clear to him. He will know where there is a treasure because he doesn't desire for it at all. When a yogi becomes firmly established in non-theft, all treasures will start attending upon him. He need not go to a treasure. The treasures themselves will open up to him. Okay, you're getting this? He will know where the wealth is just because of his psychic power. He doesn't need it at all, but that comes automatically because the yogi becomes desireless. He is completely desireless. Only when there is that state will these kind of siddhis accrue. Jewels and treasures anywhere, in any direction, any place, they start attending upon him. Even the celestial ones also become visible to him. That which normal people cannot see, those things he can see. That those things become visible to him. They present themselves before him. Such is the power. And because of the power of the virtue of his practice, what happens is he attains all these jewels and treasures at all time, everywhere, just by his will. Okay. And the most imminent thing of each and every species is made available, made present. Whatever is the best thing of any species made available to such a yogi. So, astheya, when one is established in astheya, any treasure becomes available for such a person. Getting it? Because his state of mind is desireless. Such a person is not going to even aspire for anything. Only then it becomes available. Okay, let's see what is given here. On being firmly established in honesty, all gems present themselves. When the aspirant is established in a yogic virtue of honesty, he develops within himself a power of cognition, intuitive awareness about what? About the point where the wealth is. It is exactly the same faculty possessed by water diviners. Through this cognizing faculty, the aspirant becomes aware of valuable stones and jewels nearby. Okay, we have some persons like Swami Shivananda who could know how much wealth an approaching person had. This is a kind of intuitive awareness and possible only on account of absolute unconditional honesty. Without that honesty, it is impossible to get such intuition. If a person has desire in his mind, this will never come true. That is the key point in this. Getting it? So, moving on to the next sutra, 38th sutra, it talks
Ma'am,
about. Hmm.
one thing is coming into my mind, that what will yogi will do from all these cities? Like if he is not possessed by anything, then what is the use of these cities? Or it's just the
Siddhi.
way of vairagya? Like first they will give you the siddhi to check to keep check on you that you are getting possessed by it or not. Then you have to leave the siddhi also. Is it that?
Exactly, exactly. So all these things are bestowed on the yogi. If a yogi starts to use these siddhis, he will automatically go into Yuttanavastha. Next pada is completely filled with vibhudis, only siddhis, loads and loads of them. Okay, so if a yogi starts to use these siddhis, he will go into Vyuthana Avastha, which you know very well. What happens in Vyuthana Avastha? A person from Ekagra goes down into Vikshipta. And all the kleshas, vrittis start appearing. He will start accumulating consequences of his actions. A wise yogi who is in the right path will never step into these things. Never, ever. Okay, the one who gets lured by these siddhis or vibhutis, such a person will automatically go back. He has to start all over once again, right from the beginning. He might be in mudha, kshipta, vikshipta, any state which is not a yogic state. Everything starts troubling him. He gets affected with his karmas because of the kleshas, because of the unwanted vrittis arising in his mind. He has to battle all that to get out of all these things. Okay, that is what will happen. These things are given because these are the, you can imagine them as milestones in your journey. Like if you want to reach Kailash, Mount Kailash, or any place, any pilgrimage, if you're starting from your hometown, so every mile or every point, major point that you cross, you will have a milestone, right? You know you've established, you've crossed a certain stage in your journey. It is just like that, like you've crossed a certain stage, you know that you can do this, but you never use that. Okay, getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
It is just the journey that you've paced. There is a long journey ahead. So the yogi gets to know this, but when he starts using, he'll go back. And when he knows that these things will put him back, he's not using it, then he'll go forward. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other doubts? Any other questions from anybody? Should I go ahead with the next sutra?
Yes.
So the next sutra is the 38th sutra, which talks about the result of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, yesterday we understood that it is celibacy. Right? So what is celibacy? Just a recap of what we have learned yesterday. Celibacy meant, again, manasa, vacha, karmana, with all three aspects. You are not indulging in anything which is pertaining to sexual acts. Okay, be it seeing, hearing, using any of your sense organs, like talking about or indulging in, somebody was saying, yes, humor, which is related to such aspects. All these aspects are abstained. If one is following this to that extent, then he is established in brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, we have understood why it is so important. This is a very key yama. Because when one is under a guru, you know how strictly they follow the rules that the guru has put upon them, right? There is a very strict discipline, a code of conduct that one follows. This part becomes very, very, very important in the path of yoga. One has to strictly abstain from sexual indulgence. Okay, so when one is established in this, what happens? The siddhi that accrues is virya labha. Virya is nothing but he is saving all that energy. He or she is what are they doing? They are conserving their energies. When they conserve the energies, that energy will be used for your yogic journey. Okay, that is virya labha. He will be able to establish himself in immense strength, physically and mentally, both. Okay, virya labha means that. Now, on being firmly established, this virya is gained. Virya in different commentaries is described in different ways. Virya is said to be the strength that one accrues or attains When the body becomes more stronger, you can see this, the body will be able to tolerate so many different aspects. When it is put in some hardships also, it can pays that way very well. It handles all the hurdles well, like the basic things. When you are down with something, you will be able to withstand all those things. The body becomes stronger. But for a person who has really established brahmacharya firmly, now what kind of virya or strength that person can accrue is given in the commentary. Just give me a second. So this kind of capacity will be like related to the mind, senses, and body, all three. In people whose power flows upward, it is given that a particular luminosity is seen in such a person, like they become more lustrous, or there is a different kind of aura with these people. Now, what you see with the common people, you might have experienced when you are with people who are practicing yoga, their presence gives you a different feel. You feel that their aura is different. Their aura is much better than the people around. Have you experienced this kind of state when you are with people who are practicing yoga and are established in certain kind of these kind of yamas? Have you ever come across such people? Might
No,
not
ma'am.
be strict. But when I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
seen, there are people who have a different aura. There are people who have a different aura. I've come across a person like that very recently.
Yeah,
So I was
I too have experience with one uh, uh, ascended master.
So they have this aura, like you don't know why, but they have this vibe where you feel they have a different presence. They have a different presence and you feel connected, isn't it? So this kind of feeling that you get is because of their luminosity, because of their aura. You get attracted to such people because of their siddhi. Okay, it is clearly stated that the power in these people who maintain the brahmacharya aspect flows upwards, because we know the energy is draining from the Chandra Mandala, the energy is going into Surya Mandala. You might have come across this point in the Hatha Yoga text, right? So when it is draining from the Chandra Mandala and getting burnt in the Surya Mandala, and also we are destroying it by indulging in sexual activities. Right? When this energy is conserved and it is made to move upwards, that energy will give a different aura to the person. Okay, so there are some kind of good qualities, like anima and the other 8 siddhis, like you might have heard that anima, mahima, garima, laghima, ishitva, vashitva, prakamya. All these 8 siddhis are also seen in people who have attained brahmacharya. Like the best example that I can give of a person who has a god who has followed brahmacharya is Hanuman. Right? So brahmacharya is celibacy, and people through our stories, through our history also, we have known that we have people who have attained the Ashtasiddhis, and Hanuman is an example of a person who has achieved perfection in brahmacharya. Okay, such siddhas will attain the Ashtasiddhis. Ashtasiddhis are anima, mahima, garima, laghima, prapti, prakamya, ishitva, and vashitva. These 8 siddhis, which are called as Ashtasiddhis, are also achieved by a person who follows brahmacharya. Getting it? And another important point that I have read about this is the people who are established in brahmacharya become eligible to have a a disciple under them, and they can pass on the knowledge of yoga in a particular way to those disciples, to their disciples, because they are following that path, and it becomes easier for them to pass on this knowledge to their disciples. That is what is being said in one of the commentary that I've read. Okay. Is this clear? So they are able to give yoga dikshas and such things. It's not easy to find gurus who have strongly established these aspects of yamas, but yeah, we do find such people, and many people who are in the path of yoga try to get connected to such people. The next one, is this clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the aparigraha, the fruit of aparigraha, which is the 39th sutra of Sadhana Pada. Aparigraha, as we have understood it yesterday, is the non-indulgence or non-possessiveness, right? So when one is firmly established in non-indulgence or non-possessiveness, what accrues is janma kathanta sambodha. That aspect of the birth and incarnation, how it has happened and why it has happened, that realization becomes so clear to this person who has completely mastered aparigraha. Upon the stability which comes upon a person who has put himself in non-indulgence, non-possessiveness, such a person can understand the how and why of his birth and his incarnation. Okay. So who am I? Where was I in the past birth? How I was after all? I mean, why is it happening? Who shall be born after? Who shall I be born after this birth of mine? These kind of aspects become so clear. That is what is Janma Kathanta. Janma Kathanta Sambodha. So the aspect of birth and reincarnation, who was I in my past birth? Who will I be in my next birth? Why did I get into this birth? Those aspects become clear with the fruit. Upon the stability attained by aparigraha. Getting it? So for getting this, one has to become non-possessive. Aparigraha is one of the most important virtues. What it means is giving up the tendency of accumulating wealth, which is just for enjoyment. Okay, so here, as we have understood in the last class, the aspirant who's practicing aparigraha will only possess the objects which are essential for living. Okay, this keeps his mind unoccupied, and also he does not have to worry about anything because he doesn't have to protect anything. So many aspirants do not even touch fire and have only one set of clothes. We have seen many such, we have heard of many such stories, right? Most of these sadhus who are wandering monks, they don't have a lot of possessions. They have very minimal possessions. But this aspect is related to a yogi who's following the aparigraha and has mastered that aspect. Only upon the mastery would he be able to understand the Janma Kathanta, that is the reincarnation, why and how it happened. These aspects become clear to him. Okay, that is about it. So aparigraha is a temporary course of sadhana in an aspirant's life. In this particular sadhana, if this particular sadhana is continued beyond reasonable limits, it gives rise to weakness and obsession. So you see, again, there's a caveat given here. If thus aparigraha is a temporary course of sadhana in an aspirant's life, if this particular sadhana is continued beyond reasonable limits, it gives rise to weakness and obsession. However, it is necessary to practice in the beginning in order to break the old habits. When they are broken, one can have different things which are needed for social work and service to humanity. You're getting it because you see there are a lot of yogis like we have seen Shivananda, we have seen Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. These people might have practiced the aparigraha aspect initially, but when they are serving the society, they need certain things, right? So at that time, they use it in the right way for that, for the welfare of the society and humanity. Okay, you're getting it. So this aspect is answered, like why people need certain things. Now I can take the live example of Narendra Modi if there are no objections here. So he's doing such a service. That is what I feel. So there is a lot of service that he's doing. He doesn't have a necessity for anything, and he's not indulging in anything for his personal benefits. For the society, for for the upliftment of the country, he's doing everything that he can with the resources that he's able to use. Right? We are seeing this. That is a classic example of aparigraha. So that's about it. Anybody has any questions on the last sutra that we have dealt for today?
Ma'am,
Huh.
missed the initial part because of network issue. Could you just quickly tell me what was the fruit of apabila? Like it is saying Janma Kathan Sambodha something. So the yogi will able to know the his birth and something like that, previous birth or something.
Yes, yes. So what caused this birth? Who am I? Who was I in my past birth? How am I here? Okay. What shall be born after this birth? Might be I'll be born as something. I'll be knowing that now. Okay. All these aspects become realized to the yogi who is practicing aparigraha and has mastered it, not practicing. He should have mastered it by the time he realizes all these aspects. Okay, so the key thing is when one becomes an expert in aparigraha, he'll be able to know about past, present, and future very well. He'll be able to relate all these three aspects, basing on reincarnation, birth, death, reincarnation, all that. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So today we have seen the fruits of the 5 yamas that we learned yesterday: ahimsa, satya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, brahmacharya, and astheya. So the order I just mentioned it in a wrong way. It is ahimsa, satya, astheya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. That is the right order. So there might be questions in the exam related to the order also. They might put it in a wrong order and you will have to reorder it in the right way. Okay, they might give you options around that. And they might give you a different word for something. You will have to identify which amongst these might be yamas or might not be yamas. They might mix it with something else and give it. Such questions are possible. Okay. Or they might give certain kind of match to following where they say that brahmacharya, establishment in brahmacharya leads to this, and establishment of aparigraha leads to this. Okay, when one is established in ahimsa, it leads to this. In column A, they might give you the yamas, and column B, they might give you what consequences or results will come about. You have to match them. They might give the options. Getting it? Such are the questions that you can expect from this. Okay, I would like you all to just do the quick recap of what we did today. Just give me a second. Yeah. Who would like to come forward? Can I ask Sarika?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you please explain this 35th Sutra?
Yeah, 35th Ahimsa Pratishtayam
Hmm.
Tat Sannidhau Vairatyagaha. So
Hmm.
here it is explaining the fruit of Ahimsa. So when one practice Ahimsa and being established in Ahimsa, he is not he is in his presence. Other the living beings also loses Vaira, enmity. So
Yes.
their hostility is lost, and it is the power of the yogi. So his state of mind gets reflected in the people in his proximity also.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Monica, can you explain the next one? 36 Sutra.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I didn't wrote that sutra. I will explain fruit of Satya. So Satya is truthfulness. When yogi establish in truthfulness, its results of action will depends on its own will, and it is called as vacha siddhi, and result of karma, which is usually which is not in our hand, but the aspirant who is established in truthfulness, it will depend on its own will and wish.
So the key message here is whatever the yogi utters or desires or wills, that will come true.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
is the siddhi
Yeah.
from Satya. Okay, whatever he utters or whatever he wishes, that will come true. Okay. The third one,
Yes, ma'am.
Gunjan, can you explain the next sutra? Gunjan, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
It's Asya Pratishtanam Sarv Sarvaratnopatishtam. It means uh, a yogi should be an honest. He should be firmly established in his honesty. Uh, he should develop a fair to speak truth, and all the gems are present in themselves also. They should self present themselves with honesty.
It is honesty, but in what sense? Like it relates to non-stealing or non-theft, right? Asteya. What is
Stays, yes, non stealing. They
hmm,
should not
more than
steal any.
honesty? It is related to non-stealing. You should never aspire for any possession that is not yours.
Yeah,
It could be, yeah, it could be through your thoughts, your words, your actions. And yesterday we have also understood that anything which is done through force, anything which is done through conspiracy, that which is not yours, you're trying to grab that,
it will.
is us. Okay,
आखिरी में वो आपसे
it is
छिन
theya.
जाता है.
It is theya. Anything
Yeah.
anything which you're trying to grab that is not yours, that is called stheya. Negation of stheya is astheya. Okay, non-theft,
Yeah.
non-stealing. It could be ideas, it could be objects, it could be anything that does not belong to you. If you are doing that, it is stheya. Negation of that, abstaining from theft, is astheya. When one is established in astheya, that person will be able to know of any treasures in any direction. Wherever there is a treasure, this person will know about it. The yogi who has attained mastery, those treasures will automatically come to him. He will know that there is a treasure, because the main idea here is his state of mind is such that he is not desiring for it. When somebody doesn't desire for it, it automatically comes to him. That is what they're trying to say. Here the yogi is desireless. He's not wishing for that, but it is coming to him. Okay, when a yogi
Yes, ma'am.
becomes firmly established in asteya, all treasure will start attending upon him. Just because he became desireless. Even the celestial ones also become visible to such a yogi. Okay, they present themselves before him. That is what is being said.
Okay, ma'am.
Who wants to explain the next sutra?
Yes,
Me.
Didi.
Ha.
Brahmacharya
Vishali,
Brahmacharya
the next one.
Brahmacharya Pratishtayam Viryalabhaha. On being firmly established in Brahmacharya,
Yeah.
Virya is gained. Means he can able to attend all the strength and powers.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. So I gave some examples here. When we talk about Brahmacharya, think about Hanuman. Hanuman
okay.
has attained Ashtasiddhis. Ashtasiddhis are also the result of Brahmacharya.
Okay.
Yeah. So that person will become stronger mentally, physically, both, and he can attain those 8 siddhis. Then the last one, Vrishali, would you like to explain that? Aparigraha,
Aparigraha.
Sthairye.
Yes, aparigraha sthairye janma kathanta sambodha. So, in this janma kathanta means aspect of birth, then past, future. I mean, when the yogi is not really, I'm not getting right the word. When yogi is not attached to anything, he is not संग्रह किसी चीज का नहीं कर रहे अब मतलब
He is not indulging. There's no
indulging into
indulgence.
any materialistic things or anything, and when he become firmly established in this in such thing, then he will come to know what is his past life and what will be his future life. Janma kathanta is he will know aspects of his birth as well as past and future also.
Yeah. So his whole story, Janma Katha.
Janma katha, yeah. Memory of past life also, and things about future also he will come to know.
Like who was he in his past birth? What will he become in his future birth? These things become clear.
Yeah,
that-
he becomes clear. Yeah, he becomes clear about his I mean his journey. I mean from past to future,
Yes.
soul journey. Yeah.
Yes. So should we stop here?
Yes,
If there are
Sisha.
no doubts, we'll stop.